So learning targets are something we hold incredibly tight to at East Central High School. The expectation is that they will be in every classroom, posted for every lesson every day. Learning targets are different than learning objectives. Learning objectives are written in state educational ease, really designed for the highly trained, highly skilled professional to understand what the learning outcomes are expected. But learning targets for us are written in student-friendly language and posted in such a manner as that I can, or I will, or you can, or you will, and it puts the ownership of the learning into the student's hands. What's important about learning targets is that we know is that the ultimate end user of a learning target is our student. So the expectation that when they're posted on the board is that we review the learning target with the student before the learning begins, during the learning, and at the conclusion of the learning. So I went around the campus looking for some great examples. So let's go take a look.
I've recognized that this teacher's decided to break down the what and the how separate from the why. They've used student-friendly language and have made it possessive by writing I will, and then have also put the by to really explain the difference between the what and the how. These two teachers have decided to parse out the what, the how, and the why, which is perfectly fine, but they've still continued to use the right framework in order to pair out what their learning target would be, and done in such a manner a student can own. The last thing is this teacher, even on a test day, has decided to post a what, a how, and a why. Therefore, this person, you can tell, is definitely considering that learning targets are a valuable tool to improve student learning.
So there are three key essential components to a learning target, and they are a what, a how, and a why. The what basically for us is what is the content standard or skill that students will be mastering or working on that day. The second part to an effective learning target is the how. This is how they are going to demonstrate or practice their new skill that you have asked them to acquire. The last part is the why in their learning target, and the why brings about, it is their relevance. So how does it connect to previous learning, or how does it connect to future learning, or how does it connect to real world? And really what it brings about is purpose. And we understand that if we have purpose and relevance in our learning, it allows rigor to be possible. Now there are two essential ways that you can write a learning target. The first essential way is you can break it down on your board as a what, a how, and a why. They still should be written in student-friendly language with an I can or I will statement, or a you can or a you will statement. When you get to the how part, you should put a by in whatever their way they're going to be measured, or they're going to demonstrate, or they're going to practice. And the why is because. And this is how you connect it all back together. One of the more effective ways that I see learning targets written are when they're written in a one-sentence format in student-friendly language. So they're written in such a manner as I can or I will, and after that comes what students will be learning. Then it comes to how students will learn, and that's going to be by. So this is the how are they going to demonstrate, how are they going to practice, how are they going to be measured for their learning. And then the last part, when they write out an effective learning target in a one-sentence format, is because, and the because is the why, the relevance, the purpose behind that learning. Does it connect to future learning? Does it connect to a lab that they're having to do? Does it connect to previous learning? Does it connect to real world? This is one of the most effective ways that we can write a very simple, student-friendly learning target on a daily basis to guide our teaching, but most importantly, to allow student ownership in their learning. But let me reiterate, the most important piece of a learning target is to review it before, during, and after the learning. So one of the most ineffective ways to write a learning target is when we place out our what, our how, and our why, is by writing it like it's an agenda. So this just shows kind of an active compliance, and not that we're truly using learning targets to transform student learning and create ownership in their learning process. So one of the ways that I've seen it posted out before is in a what, we could say we are learning about learning targets. How are we going to learn about writing learning targets? We are going to watch a video, and why is because they are important. You can see here, this is going to be difficult for students to own in their learning. We can see how it doesn't spell it out, it doesn't create ownership, and it's incredibly vague, so it looks more like an agenda. Probably the most ineffective learning target that I've ever seen, though, is this right here. It's no learning target at all. It doesn't guide us, it doesn't show us, and the teacher becomes the sole owner of where learning will go that day and does not allow the student to know, understand what it is they're going to be learning, how they're going to be measuring their learning, and why that new learning is important. So we're relying solely on the teacher. So this is really what we're trying to avoid on a daily basis for our learning targets.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No, try not. Do or do not. There is no try.